Hi, my name is Anja and I have decided to tell my story, or a part of my story. My story, of course, is much bigger than that, as all our stories are. But I'll tell you why I decided to do this now, because it's kind of shameful and not comfortable and stuff. It's because I would say, the last year I was being made aware that I had a problem with my root chakra. And to be honest, I had never studied chakras at all, actually. So I went into the internet and I researched root chakra and listened to all kinds of people, and then I decided to what am I going to do about my root chakra? I'm terrible at meditation. This will play a role. What am I going to do? Okay, I'm going to paint the chakras. So that's how I started out, pretty much a year ago, 2017, November. I think end of October actually, I started. And I worked my way up through the chakras. So studying each one and then making paintings until I was happy with them, that I kind of caught the spirit. That didn't do it. But it was a very interesting process. But then all kinds of stuff happened. It burned here last summer, wildfires, and I don't know. Yeah, things happen, life happens. And then about 6 weeks ago or so, my symptoms started to get really bad again. They do that every now and then. They do that, I don't know. Yeah, it's like waves or something. And this was one of the good times when they do that. The bad times is when you actually have a problem, when there's actually a crisis, like a child is hurt or something. Which mostly, okay, in exactly that, when my children get hurt, I get really cool, like super rational. But there's other things, like people lying to me could do that. People lying to me, people I trust lie to me. I got fired from a job, and I found unjustly, and they wouldn't listen to me. And that can send me into wild crazes of fight or flight, or up all night and can never sleep, heart beating wildly day and night, and like really crazy things. But the good times, when I can also have symptoms, but not like as strong, is when I'm good. Everything's fine, everybody's doing well, basically nothing's wrong, and suddenly, and that's how it was now. And then it kind of starts slowly, and it's kind of like knock knock. Who's there? And it always takes me a while to know who's there. Because I guess, I don't want to know, do I? Yeah, well, my body really is my friend, because my body just won't let it go. I think maybe there's something in nature which wants us to heal. So when there's this relaxed, this is my interpretation, right? So when I have this relaxed feeling, everything is fine, then somebody can come and say, can you take care of this shit now, so we can kind of move on from that. Knocking a little bit harder. So anyway, it ended with me, yeah, I get digestion problems, total sleeplessness, like I can lie awake in the darkness 5 hours, 5 in the morning, 5:30, at 6 I gotta get up. It's not so good. Then I kind of lose my appetite, or I indulge, kind of eat, and then I start to feel sick, and no. What else? Oh yeah, you get really stingy, like, you know. Oh, and super jumpy. Like somebody bangs the door and you go, it's like electric shock in the whole body. And so this was building up. And lucky for me, I have a very great husband who has listened to me a lot in the 21 years we're married. So he knows me pretty well. And he's pretty wise, I would say. I was going to say smart, but I wouldn't say. He's smart too, but he's wise. And he said, you know what? Now. I said, what? I'm feeling like shit. Yeah. So now I'm sending you on a mission, and I'm like, oh no. He never does that, by the way, usually. So I knew this was serious. He means it. And he says, go to your atelier and... Oh, sorry. See, this is what happens. Of course, telling this story is not so easy. Because I go into it. I mean, I go into the state, so concentrating is not so easy. So the first thing I did before my husband talked to me was go on the internet and research. No, wrong. Now I've got it. Now I know it. The order. Sorry. Right. I was wandering around at night, like here on the grounds, looking at stars, trying to calm down, trying to do little tricks, you know, breathing. And then when I come back in, I get this feeling, this intuition, or voice from God, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't a voice. It was just a feeling. Look at the table. And I was like, well, now I'm going crazy. Okay, but I do it anyway. Intuition is important, so listen, do it anyway. I look at the table, and to my great surprise, there was this book lying on my table. And I've had this book for 2 years. Got it as a present. Never touched it. I wanted it to. I wanted to have it. But I never read it. And the other day, I was looking for something, so I kind of shuffled things around, and this happened to be on top. And this is a German book by a journalist called Sabine Bode, Die vergessene Generation, The Forgotten Generation. Die Kriegskinder brechen ihr Schweigen. The children of war are not quiet anymore, or they break the silence. And in that moment, synchronicity moment, I knew what it was. I knew what I had to do. I knew what time it was. So I went on the internet and I searched for trauma, children of war in German. And I found some really good women, 3 women that I found, German women that are therapists of some kind, and talk about this. And this, until recently, was a taboo in Germany. The Germans were the Nazis. This is the reasoning. The Nazis were the bad guys. So you're not victims. Now here's my question. The Nazis were the bad guys. Yes. Their kids, though. Are they perpetrators or victims? The kids that got bombed out, that were taken up from their beds in the middle of the night, every night, down in the basement, bombs falling, bam, 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 neighbors dying, parents getting missing. It's incredible. It's... I don't even know how kids survive this kind of thing. And many didn't, of course. But life is really strong. So these kids, in my opinion, are not responsible for what their parents did or did not do. And these kids, that's my parents. That's the generation. I'm born 1964. So I believe that you're not responsible, morally responsible, for what your parents did, or your grandparents in my case, or did not do. As little as what color your skin is or what language you speak, right? So this needs to be talked about, because this is an issue. This is an issue. And that is my story. But I want to tell it because as I perceive it, there's so much trauma going around in this world. And we're constantly creating new traumas, right? You know, all these bombs falling on villages and cities, and all this abuse that is going on constantly. Child abuse, sex abuse, all this violence, and there is serious consequences. The good news is, according to my experience, you do not have to take pills if you don't want to. If you want to, and it works for you, great. According to what I researched, and I didn't research it for 10 years, I was much too upset to spend that kind of time, but I looked around, and what I found is that what the medical industry offers, except for psychotherapy, which, as I have found, I don't know if that is true, but I heard people say that that is even, what do you call it, contraindicative. So with trauma patients, that can actually make it worse. To talk and talk and talk, mind therapy. Can. Doesn't have to, but that is what I've heard. So that's not me, I'm just quoting. So it's psychotherapy, and then it's medicine. All kinds of medicines. And I don't know anything about this medicine, so I just know that I never wanted to take them. That's my personal decision. I just didn't want to. And I still don't want to. So I do my other tricks. Okay, So suddenly, researching this door opens for me, because I found this one woman, Heike Johansmeyer, can't even write my. She put out a list of. She's worked with children of the war and their children for many years, and then she found that there was always the same symptoms. So she put out a list of 10 symptoms, which she says I would connect to this. So if you have one or more, you probably have something to work on there. And I had 8 of 10 symptoms. And so then I went to my husband and I said, you know what? Oh my God. And believe me, I've been working on trauma in my life, but not from that angle. Not from that war angle. There's tons of stuff that comes later, which is kind of typical for traumatized children. So there comes sexual abuse and rape and getting beaten up to the point where I thought I would die, and mobbing and anyway. So he says, okay, now we come to that point. Now you go to your atelier and you write one paper for each of these 8 points, and then you shuffle the papers. No, because first he says, and then you paint a picture for each one of them. And then I went like, oh man, what am I going to do? Am I going to take risks? And he says, okay, shuffle the papers. Shuffle them, fold them up, shuffle them and take them like tarot cards or something. Okay. So, oh my God, oh yeah, shaking knees as a symptom. So this really, just him saying that put me in that state of shaking, which then I've learned is good because it's already trauma release, but that I didn't know at that point. There's this great American, I will find his name later. And I did. It took me 8. It got to be 9 because one got 2 paintings, and it took me 10 days because I had to take a break before the last one. Yeah. And now I thought I'd tell you about it, and I take the pictures, and I will make a little series of these videos, and tell you about my process. I will show you the pictures. They're not art, they are process pictures, so they're not pretty or anything. And tell you what I did. And I really suggest that if you try anything like this, please, you have to have somebody you love. Point 1. Could be a really good friend, could be a husband, of course, or wife, and who's not in trauma at that point, at least. And could be a therapist, of course, somebody you trust and you love, who's with you. And this was really important for me, because every day when I dug into this one topic, like sleeplessness is one of the topics, and I throw myself into this picture, and it got so strong with some of them that, I mean, it's just not, the painting the picture doesn't take it away. At least it didn't for me. That is to make it visible, to take it out from the dark basement where you stuffed it. where it can haunt you, from where it can haunt you. But it doesn't help you. So you need a process to actually deal with it then, so you can wrap it up for that day, for that time. I don't even, in my wildest dreams, believe that this is over with now. It never is. It never is. But it always gets better. It always gets easier. In this case, I mean, painting and stuff I couldn't even have done in earlier years. I mean, I would be like this. So, and sometimes it was like that, but not really quite as bad. So, for me, that the way to wrap it up is a process called Psyche, which I'd taken 4 classes in some years ago. And we've already used this process in different things before. So this I'm familiar with, but I found this list. There's tons of processes, and you just have to find your own one, but you should have one. Or you should find a facilitator who has one. EFT is another one, where there's a lot on YouTube. Then there was something called MDR therapy, wing work coaching, I don't even know what it is. The Journey by Brandon Bass, I've done that one time, and that's pretty good. Just much longer than Psyche for this kind of transformation therapy, saving your inner child. Yeah, there's lots of stuff out there. Milton Erickson's hypnotherapy. I've also learned another a hypnosis therapy from Dolores Cannon called QHHT. But that's a much longer process. So in this case, and I've used it and it's great. But in this case, where I take one topic, deal with one topic, and then I have one thing that I want to transform, which I can put into one sentence. I found, for me, Psyche was the thing. So, but I believe with EFT and a lot of the other things you can do the same thing. So just please don't dive in without knowing how you're going to wrap it up nicely, right? Okay, this much for now. See you later.